Warm welcome, this is Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch at the 21st of November 2024. As I'm speaking, the moon is in the sign of Leo and the sun is still in the sign of Scorpio. But in the evening, in between 8 and 9 o'clock in the evening, the sun will change to the sign of Sagittarius. And that means we have a double fire light show, which means the moon is in Leo, that's a fire sign, and the sun will be in Sagittarius, joining Mercury in Sagittarius, that is getting slower and slower and slower these days, and of course making an opposition to still retrograde Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. Now what is happening here is the atmosphere is going to change greatly. We're getting out of the Scorpio, dark Halloween period, in the sense of the old has to die, the new has to come. And as soon as the sun touches Sagittarius, this is about plans. This is about the bow, that goes far out there and wants to have a new consultation about what is really human. Because you might have discovered that the sign of Sagittarius shows us an animal body, a horse, and there's a person above that animal body. Strange enough, those, as they call them, Sagittarius things, they call them centaurs. That's the word for it, the Greek word for it. And strangely enough, mankind got instructed by those centaurs. In Greek mythology, those centaurs are the teachers of mankind of almost everything, including music, astrology, medicine, and anything like that. So that's a combination of miracles, The Sagittarius thing is in between animal and God, It's not in between animal and human being, it's in between animal and God. And that makes the thing interesting, because maybe in the middle we could find some humanity. As I said, the sun is joining Mercury, who's already in the sign of Sagittarius and is getting slower and slower already, as some astrologers say. I don't talk too much about that in the retrograde shadow loop. I don't work with shadows too much, because is it retrograde or not? Expanding the retrograde phases by putting out a shadow left and right from the phase, that makes everything kind of retrograde. No, we just shouldn't do that. But what is true is Mercury is getting slower and slower, and Mercury is in that crazy reception to to Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. That is here. We have the opposition of Jupiter and Mercury, and one is in the sign of the other, and that's called a reception, making it very strong and giving it the idea of a conjunction. And now, as the sun is touching Sagittarius too, that's really a different period. That's really a whole lot of a different atmosphere coming up, and I think we need it. As the sun does it, the first thing she will do is have a sextile aspect to Pluto, to freshly loaded Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So this is not a bad mood for having plans, especially those who are working kind of underground, to get things done who necessarily need to be done. Of course, there are other challenges in the chart which are extremely annoying, such as is the opposition of Lilith and Chiron. Still nobody is really able to have negotiations in the sign of Libra, and still many people die in a very cruel way with Chiron in the sign of the warrior. Mars also in the sign of Leo, was touched yesterday by the moon. I told this was to be one of the choleric aspects. I had a temptation, to go out there and be choleric, but as I knew about the temptation, I didn't, so I succeeded. But Mars in the sign of Leo is also getting slower and slower and slower. He does not give up the opposition to Pluto. This opposition to Pluto will be more or less on the schedule of our skies until June next year. Mars will dive back into Cancer. It's not going to be that serious over that period, but this is not in the month coming that are left from this year. We will have Mars in the sign of Leo, I think, pretty long, until the 18th of December, something like that. And I don't know if I'm correct about that. We have to look it up tomorrow, but this is an ongoing opposition, Mars-Pluto. That makes it, of course, dangerous and tricky and all of those things, Yep, that's basically the situation. So this is a transition day. The transition is from one sign to another, from the sign of Scorpio to the sign of Sagittarius. Persons born on a transition day have one half of the sun in the one sign and the other half of the sign in the other sign, which is a special strength. This is not a bad thing. It's a special strength for the sun. But throughout the period of those days who are on the borderline in between two signs, in public affairs, this seems to be a period of instability and insecurity in the first time until the sun really has entered the sign, which is actually tomorrow. So thank you very much for listening. This is Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch. Saturn is still very, very slow. All the important affairs need some time to get into speed. If you want to get in contact with me, this is the mail address, time, date, place where you were born, and you'll get a chart picture, not the consultation, but just the picture back for free. And down here at my blog site, you will find the conditions for a consultation. Markus Termin speaking, the 21st of November 2024.